this great event. I'm so happy to have people like you guys that really encourage us to work in this disruptive thing that is alternative proteins landscape. I'm really happy to be here. But let's start to introduce. I really want to introduce myself. I'm not a scientist, so prepare your questions. And I learned a lot, and I learned quick. But I'm not a scientist. I'm a marketing and a business person. I have been immersed in the traditional meat industry my whole life because I'm part of the fourth generation of a meat family business. Actually, it's Paladini Group is the same name of my last name of the last name of the whole family. It's one of the largest processing meat players in Southern Cone. It is a vertical integrated company with it is our own farms. We are the biggest pork producers in the region as well. So definitely I'm an insider here. Firsthand, I know from seed to table, the whole value chain, or the conventional value chain. I'm very well acquainted with the main challenges and especially the main issues of a conventional protein system. These are the challenges, of course, that drove me to found Moolec. I truly believe that we need to start working together to find the alternative solutions to produce animal proteins, not for the sake of the business, but for the next generations and the good of the planet. Of course, that's my intrinsic motivation, and I'm sure that you are with me here. So let me jump to a short presentation, and then we could open to questions and debate. So now let's get down to business. Nobody better than me that could describe the conventional meat value chain, because where I'm come from, of course, we all know that we have the seeds to grow crops, to get grains to feed animals in livestock. By the way, 40% of the cropland in the world right now goes to feed animals in livestock. And then after slaughter and the processing, we get, of course, the raw material to produce the food that we love. Plant-based was the first approach in alternative protein, skipping the livestock and substituting animal-based raw material with plants, only with plants. It's a great solution. Companies like Impossible Food, Beyond Meat, Corn, Oatly, so many others, great companies. They're paving the way for this disruption. Fermentation has a different approach, which is applying science to the equation, using microorganisms to produce the real animal genes with bioreactors. It's actually great what so many companies like Perfect Day, Clara Foods, and so many other companies that are doing. They're really amazing. And culture meat is also a scientific approach, which brings pharmaceutical technology into food. They remove animal tissue and multiply cells in special bioreactors to cultivate ground meat. This is totally amazing. Actually, I'm a huge fan about culture meat. This great tech is actually a bit expensive right up to now, but looking forward to further progress in that regard. So the question is, and this is a question that I use a lot, is which of these technologies, plant-based, precision fermentation, culture meat, overcome all of the challenges? And I'm talking about taste, nutrition, scalability, and affordability, because at the end of the day, what we need is to get food for all. Well, to be honest, this is one answer to the question, or this is my answer, personal opinion, and let me walk you through this graph. Plant-based products are really good, but not great right now. They need taste and nutrition improvements. Of course, the upsides are scale and low cost, because at the end of the day, they use plants to scale and produce in a relatively cost-effective way. And I'm very sure that the cost is going to go down. Fermentation and culture meat has been achieving a great performance in taste and nutrition because they get the real DNA of animal-based, of course, with science. However, they still need scale and cost reduction improvements because this technology still has a pharmaceutical cost structure. It's totally normal what is happening right now. Really looking forward what they could do in the future. Well, we believe that all of these challenges are overcome with the fourth tech pillar in Alpro. That's molecular farming. That's how we could engineer plants to produce animal proteins. So let me show you how it works. And this is Moolec's technology. We take the animal out of the equation, of course, that's the whole point. But we insert only the genes of their proteins inside the seeds of the main plants used in food. I'm talking about soybeans, yellow peas, wheat, oat, and we are exploring chickpeas and fava beans as well. Then we grow crops, keeping the original proteins of the plants, but adding these animal proteins inside. With both, we get better ingredients to supply the new food industry directly with a B2B model. Our value proposition is a scientific combination of plant-based technologies and cell-based technologies. How our hybrid concept leverages the efficiency of plants with the uniqueness of animal proteins. So molecular agriculture is the most cost-effective way to produce animal proteins. Why? Well, because we do not use normal and current bioreactors and tanks. We use plants as small factories without the extra energy cost, because at the end of the day, we use biology, sun, water, and soil. We mix animal and plant proteins together, keeping both together and saving the extra purification cost. And finally, we get economy of scale using the hectares now used in farming to achieve volume, productivity, and of course, what do we really need? Low cost. And how do we know that? Well, first, because we didn't start from scratch. We are a spin-out from Biosource Group. It's a NASDAQ listed company. It's an agtech holding company leading science for sustainable agriculture. So we made a rollout of a scientific team, patents, and know-how, and we combined it with a newly formed management and scientific leadership team to found Moolec, applying the same science for alternative protein new industry right now. It took us more than a decade to build our molecular farming platform, from laboratories through pilot plant, patents, industrial scale, approvals, to commercialization of our first product. It was the first bovine protein produced in a plant for the food industry worldwide. The protein was chymosin. It is a bovine protein. It's actually an enzyme used as a specific ingredient for the cheese industry. And why chymosin? Well, because chymosin is a validation molecule in biotechnology. And please let me walk you through this timeline here. Before the 90s, the only chymosin was animal-based, captured from calf. It cost, at that point in time, was $30 per kilo. In the 90s, the demand for cheese was so high that the FDA approved the first molecule from fermentation technologies, I'm talking about precision fermentation right now, for the food industry. And it was the same protein, chymosin. That was a groundbreaking moment for biotechnology, unlocking this pharma tech for food. The cost dropped to $20 per kilo. In 2010, Moolec's team achieved the same, but with molecular farming technologies, using plants to produce it, getting a plant-based chymosin, lowering costs to $5 per kilo. Moreover, we could now reduce cost to a fraction by stacking new patents and getting two products, a protein, that's a chymosin, and a highly nutritional oil, that's our GLA product, from one crop, safflower. From our same platform, we managed to transfer and scale the technology and the know-how, the protocols, and what we learned from our first product to another crop with a different combination of animal protein of choice, a meat protein. Targeting now the most interesting market in alternative protein right now, that's alternative meat. So we went from safflower, a niche crop, to the queen of crops worldwide, soy. Why soy? Well, it's quite simple. It's because soy has more protein content, more scalability, better yields, and is the main plant protein in meat food as meat analog, and we all know that. With this switch of crops, combined with a specific meat protein genes, we went from a 200 million niche market, that's the chymosin market, to a $30 billion market, the meat replacement market. So soy and meat proteins together are our core product right now, a powerful animal-free ingredient to make superior alternative meat with better taste, nutrition, and in a cost-effective way, because we use plants to produce these genes. In other words, our ingredients helps to reach parity with animal-based food, allowing food producers to formulate better products at the cost that the market needs. So going back to the landscape of the free technologies in alternative proteins, up to now, and allow me, this is an average, cultured meat is $100 per kilo, fermentation is 10, plant-based is sort of 5, while plant-based with Moolec science reach parity with $1 per kilo, improving all organoleptic properties and nutritional aspect in the final products, and of course, in a cost-effective way. So hybrid is in our DNA, definitely, and I'm very happy to have this event that puts hybrid on the top of the discussion. See our logo, mix animals, plants, and molecules. Our goal is definitely to combine nature with science to get the tremendous power of real animal proteins in plants. So a final note here. We definitely need to empower science in food for our children and for the good of the planet. We used to say in Moolec that we work daily basis for the 90% of people that need to eat and will need to eat in the future, and not just only the 10 that could afford and choose what to eat.